Welcome to The Collective, powered by MMP. The ideas presented here are intended to assist in developing a strong and profitable business for Amway IBOs affiliated with Markham Mann Productions. For the calendar year 2023, the average income from Amway for all U.S. registered IBOs at the Founders Platinum level and below was $841 before expenses. See www.amway.com/income-disclosure for details and the most up-to-date information. Earnings depend on many factors, including customer base, business experience, effort, dedication, and quality and performance of the downline sales team. Enjoy the following message.
Hey, Papalardo team! What is going on? We are Ryan and Kayla Maraziti, building out of Atlanta, and brand new rubies. And that's super special to us because it's actually the first pin we've hit together, which is really cool and a milestone for us, but a milestone in that we will continue moving forward. And we just feel so blessed and honored to share this topic with you tonight called Standard Bearer. And I honestly had to Google that when they gave me the title. I'm like, what does that mean? So I Googled it. And it means a leading figure in a cause or movement. And aren't we just so blessed to have the ultimate example of standard bearers with the Papalardo family in our Emeralds and above, and of course the MMP organization as well. We're so blessed to have you guys here with us. But what I've learned from these humble leaders is that leaders become great not because of their power, but because of their ability to empower others, right? And growing up in this business, I've been surrounded by empowerment. Right? When I was a little baby running around in this room, I was uplifted and spoken into and poured into so that I can one day also grab that flag and walk with it. It's kind of like a relay race if you think about it. With the baton, you're running, you hand it off to the next person who's ready to grab it and make that sprint, right? And what the leadership has done for us is they've endlessly prepared us to lead the flag of the vision, and we're so honored to be able to say that. Because becoming a leader is a process, and your journey of growth is never ending. It's a responsibility that you'll grow into, that you'll be so humbled to have. It's a journey of overcoming, a journey of reflection, hard work, dedication, and failing forward. Ryan and I have failed a lot, individually and together. But it absolutely built us, right? Every time we've failed, we've gotten closer to God because he took everything we ever thought would stop us, and then he used it to recreate us into who we are today. And I read this the other day, and I thought it was so brilliant. But it's, do you know why a ship floats and a stone cannot? Because the stone sees only downward. The darkness of the water is vast and irresistible. The ship feels the darkness as well, striving moment by moment to master her and pull her under. But the ship has a secret. For unlike the stone, her gaze is not downward, but up. Fixed upon the light that guides her, whispering of grander things that darkness never knew. And maybe you're not being tested. Maybe you've finally found your boat. And you've been given an opportunity to practice exactly who you say you are. And that's what this room gives you the opportunity to do, is to grab that flag and lead the way for the vision that you're a part of today. We've learned not to pick the path of fear, but faith. And we've made it a commitment to sow honor and reap honor as it's always been done to us. This community is anointed, and we hope you feel that. When someone was called a nobody, we speak destiny into their life. When someone told them that their story was over, we speak excellence into their journey. And we don't only speak it, but we walk it. Right? And we're following people of example who are purposeful and continuing to walk that forward. And I don't know about you, I just feel so absolutely blessed to be aligned with people of integrity that not make choices for themselves, but for the whole. And that's why the Pappalardos have invested so much time and so much effort and so much income into building this opportunity for you so that you don't have to do it yourself. They became the standard bearers of our lives before we even knew what was happening. They poured into us when we honestly didn't even really deserve it yet, right? And set the tone for what true servitude is. The secret of your success is determined by your daily agenda. A successful person finds the right place for himself, but a successful leader finds the right place for others. And now, here's my babe.
Great job, babe. So, well, guys, what an amazing weekend. And to see all the leadership, the rising leadership. Again, Tony, thank you so much for always believing in us, for pouring into someone when I lived in that murder cabin, we'll call it. It was not a lake home. Lake homes, I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they have the front door is the back door is the front door. And the front door walked right into a bathroom. So it was a lot of interesting times there, and Tony never questioned. I remember one time on the coffee table, there was a real estate magazine, and Tony both always built the dream, and she wrote, "You may not reap what you sow or where you sow, but you will reap what you sow." And just always keeping that in our brain. And, being standard bearers, I think the question is, are you willing to lead from the front? Because at the end of your life, we all want to hear, well done, not, well, you're done, right? And so at this point, your business, it becomes more meaningful in proportion to the amount of responsibility you take on. And as a leader, when responsibility goes up, privilege goes out the window, right? And this is going to be hard. Tony's always said that to me. He said, right, it's going to be hard, period, hard stop, end of sentence. It's just like the gym. The weights don't get lighter, you get stronger. And what's the worst day? Obviously, all the lifting stuff, leg day, right? Every day is leg day, especially when you're running from your fears. So, but I think that's interesting because, what is fear? Right? Because life is going to life. We talk about that with our organization. And you can sum it up in one phrase, get off the X. In SEAL training, they call that the X is the point of attack or the ambush. So if you're ever on the X, you have to get off it as quickly as possible. So whatever is lifing with you right now, get off it as quick as possible, right? And here it is. The longer you stay or sit on the X, the harder it is to get out of the ambush. The more you dwell on the problem, right? You can't outthink the problem. You have to outact the problem. And so everybody's going to get ambushed in life, and you may get stuck on that X. And it's like quicksand. And the more you feel sorry for yourself, three things will happen. Number one, you're going to look back at what you might have lost wasting time. Two, you might look forward thinking, I was supposed to be here. You play the comparison game. We all played that game, right? And then number three is you look for someone or something to blame instead of accepting the responsibility for the actions that we chose to take or didn't take. And so it's tough love. Your life's going to be a reflection of your choices. Excuses won't shape it. Only discipline will. And that's what we decided to implement into our lives, was discipline. So does fear exist? I think we can agree that we've all had some fear, yes? Maybe going out to meet people, right? Okay, so let's stress test this. There was a professor in a class one time that asked if people believed in, if God created everything. And yeah, of course, yeah. He said, well, does evil exist? And they go, yeah, well, then by that equation, God must be evil. And one kid stood up, he said, Professor, can I ask you a question? He said, do you believe in dark? What kind of a question is that? Of course I do. He goes, well, it's really not dark. It's actually light that they measure. So it's the absence of light that creates darkness. He said, do you believe in cold? He goes, yes, I believe in cold. He goes, well, actually, according to everything they can measure, it's heat that they actually measure. So, cold is just the absence of heat. And then he asked him again, he said, Professor, do you believe in evil? He goes, I just said that. What did you miss it all? He goes, of course I do. He goes, well, Professor, maybe evil doesn't exist. It only exists in the absence of God. And so does your fear exist? Is it real, or is it just the absence of faith? And that's the question you want to move forward with from here. Is it fear, or is it just the absence of faith? And it doesn't have to be a spiritual faith, guys. Look, you have faith getting in the airplane that pilot is sober and the plane's getting off the ground. And that there's not going to be any unplanned stops along the way, right? So you have to exercise that faith. I think one of the other things that we've come to realize too is that when you're going through things, like, this is never perfect. If it was, one of us would be irrelevant, right? And we appreciate the resources that we've learned to lock into, because if we need to be examples, we need to be healthy examples, and that's in all areas of our lives. And we're so appreciative of what Tony has set a foundation for us. There was a meeting in Atlanta where I heard Tony share for the first time that I had ever heard, and to watch him be vulnerable and open, I mean, that's a guy I can follow. That's a man I can follow. And it gave me permission to learn to walk in that same path. And guys, that's what we look for as example. We look for men and women who lead by principle, because people are going to fail you, but principles won't. And they've always been the example of principle. You know, I think faith is an identity you're going to have to mold into. It's not going to be a script you repeat. So if you're going through it right now, keep going. You don't stop. You keep pushing through. You grow through it, not go through it. So when you're nervous about stepping outside that comfort zone, saying hello, right, initiating a conversation, just remind yourself, it feels scary only because it's unfamiliar, not because you're incapable. And for us, it was a big learning lesson and a commitment to align. It was to align our commitments and our standards with the vision for our future, not the memories of our past. Because it's gonna mislead you every time, because your brain is always eavesdropping on those negative limiting beliefs. And we had to learn to push through. So every day we wake up with purpose. We don't get distracted. When you're consumed with purpose, you don't get distracted. So what is the bigger purpose beyond self? Because when you fight for the bigger team, your team grows. When I was driving down here, we say we didn't plan going Ruby for this weekend. We knew our team was in the fight. And as I was driving down, it was an 8-hour ride. We were about 2,500 PV away from Ruby. And every hour I was getting an update. We're getting closer. We're getting closer. And we're not pushing volume. We told guys, don't do anything crazy. And they created over 2,000 points of sales. Thank you, Amway. 2,000 points of sales to push that number over. So it wasn't forced. But what it proved to the team is they're capable of so much more. So sometimes when you're in the fight, that's when greatness comes out. So don't avoid the fight. And here's the thing, that some of you guys have maybe read about the Navy SEALs, they call it ringing the bell. Don't ever ring the bell. Don't give up. Because we ask guys, hey, how hard does it have to be before you quit? And any answer is the wrong answer. Because when you join this team, we become teammates. We win together, we lose together, and we don't lose. So who are you selecting to go back to back with, to push forward with, and every day wake up to grow you and be the example and reach out a hand and potentially connect with somebody and introduce them to this environment? We have story after story, and you guys have it in your own organizations, of people's lives being impacted. There's nothing better. Yes, the money will come, right? We love these conversations. Tony just paints the dream. I can't wait, but we have to earn that. And yes, Ruby is great, but we have not lost sight of the vision. We're not reading our press clippings, because without our team and without the growth, without the hard work, this can go away just like that. And that we thrive on that challenge. We thrive every day to show up. There'll be days we're not getting along. Imagine that, right? You're human, but we still do what we have to do. And we don't put our relationship on the back burner. We allow purpose to take presence in our life. That's the goal, is what are we doing this for? So we look at, we hear people say, money doesn't make you happy. Well, typically that comes from people who don't have any. But at the same time, well, what does? See, when we're an employee mindset, money's the goal. When you're generationally minded, it's the tool. That's a big shift in perspective. And so we had a lot of learning in all areas and we're still learning, guys. We love the growth. We love diving into books, into audios. Why? Because the system, that's the sauce. That's what grows you. So yeah, Tony was joking here today about the books but I need that. I can't imagine not having that now in my life. Is there anything you want to add?
Keep going.
We are so proud of our team. We are so excited for the growth of this entire organization, guys. We are going to impact lives. We have a saying on our team. You guys maybe hear the chant. It's faith up, hammer down. And it's that we always have the faith that even if we don't see it, we're still doing the work. And that's keeping the hammer down. So it's the belief in knowing that it's coming as long as we stay committed to the goal. It's always faith up and hammer down because we're always willing to do the work. And we know that if we stay committed to that goal and we stay aligned with that vision and we don't start getting crazy, right? And we stay aligned with the principles of the organization and we continue to push forward and become the example, by result, we lift more people. And that's the goal. And as standard bearer too, you're gonna be out front. You're gonna get hit. But if you arm yourself with audios, with books, with association, you'll avoid the kill shot. But you can't be worried about getting out on the field. You have to get out there. I'm a supine in all three, right?
No. Supine, phlegmatic, supine.
There we go. People are not my thing, but I don't let that limiting belief define me. That's the weakness of a supine. I've decided to leverage that to my advantage because I connect better with people from that emotional standpoint, right? But I don't get too close. Right? You stay over there, but come here. But it's like red light, green light.
It's a lot of fun.
But guys, we are so appreciative for this weekend. There's so many of you, your time is coming. We just happen to align with the results in the conference. And we talk about that. You know, everybody has their season, right? And when you get started in this organization and these resources, we look at it like a tree, right? So especially if you're a first time here, understand, like Tony talks about, that first year in business, you have got to be patient because as tall as a tree is how deep its roots are in the ground. And so that first year, you're developing the roots in your finances, your relationships, your EQ, your emotional quotient, right? You're learning how to connect better with yourself, with people. Maybe you have a spiritual pillar. All those roots, and they have to take root for the tree to start to grow. And what you usually see is the end product. But the reason those roots are there is so that no simple wind or breeze will knock you down. So you have to stay deep rooted and you have to put the time in to dig, because when you know the value of the roots you've developed, that's what you share with people.
And that's your testimony, right? What you create now in your business is what you will share, right? Your obedience will lead to someone else's testimony because they're going to see your belief and what you've decided to lean into as you've started your business. Or if you're a veteran in this room and you're restarting, you're already victorious. You just need to make the choice to have that expectation, right? And Tony always gives us the correct expectation of what we want to receive. You need to speak life, right, into your vision and what you want to see. And that's a choice you make. Having the correct perspective and expectation for your life is why these deep roots are so important, because the vision will start to dwell inside of you, and then the victory is already yours. You just have to align your timeline, your habits, and your vision with the result you want to see.
You may not be ready, but are you willing? There's no easy day but yesterday. Get out and fight the fight. We love you, Pappalardo team.
Love you!